Okay, I'm trying this to get set up here. I'm going to attempt another Hangout. The last Hangout I did with Scotty, that came out really good, trying to run a bunch of software at the same time. So I was just running the Hangout software, so the computer was keeping up. The one I did, the Hangout I did before that, where I was trying to show you the Genesis for controlling an SDR, the software was, the Genesis software was just too much. The Hangout running at the same. So tonight, we're going to try the SDR-Console software and see if, now, after the show, when I looked at the video that was captured in the Hangout, there are a whole bunch of audio dropouts, so I had to just delete that show. It was so bad. So if you're in the chat room and you notice some problems with the audio or video, please let me know and I'll just give up once again. So what we're going to try to do, and I'll see if I can share my screen. First we get that effect, and then I'll close, or I'll shrink that down, and then we'll bring out, this is SDR-Console version 3, and like I said in the previous video, it's connected to my FiFi SDR, not my RTL-SDR.com SDR. And as you can see right now, it's on 9.845. It's almost 7:30 p.m. here in Clearwater, Florida. The sun is not quite down. I'm using my MFJ 31-foot vertical antenna. So we're just going to scan the 31-meter band tonight and see what happens. And let's see. D. Raff is in the chat room, and he says, so far so good. So I assume that means that the audio is not dropping out. I do have a fan on. I don't know if the microphone is picking up that fan, but it's about 82 degrees here in Florida, so it's quite hot. A couple weeks ago, it was 62. So that's why I got the fan on. If it does become a problem, I'll turn it off and suffer through it. Okay, let's turn the audio up here, see what we got, if anything. Nope, nothing but a bunch of noise. Oh, there we go. Hey, there's Jim. How you doing, Jim? This is, I believe, China Radio at 9.875. I was tuning the bands in the 31 meter band about a half hour ago. I did a show and the bands were actually getting better and better. So I thought, well, I need to practice more doing Hangouts. So this would be an opportunity to do it. As I mentioned before, my Hangout, I tried to do using the Genesis software to control my SDR, was a failure because my computer couldn't keep up with the Genesis software and the Hangout software, so I was getting audio dropouts. It's really bad audio dropouts. So we're going to see how long this hangs in there, and if you notice any dropouts, let me know. So let's see what's in the band here. Another signal over here. Turn the volume up. No. There's another one over here. Can't quite make out what that is. If you got your radio nearby, you can try tuning the same frequencies I am in your part of the woods. I believe that's probably 9.900. Let me tune a little bit. There we go. That sounds better. Still pretty weak. About a half hour ago when I was tuning, I was getting a number of stations in Asia. And I think that's because of the gray line effect, where if you're either in a time zone where the sun is going up or the sun is going down, you can receive signals, or more likely to receive signals that are 12 hours different, where the sun is either going down or up opposite you. It's called the gray line effect. Hey, Dave. And Caesar. Hey, Caesar. We're experimenting to see if I can do a Hangout using the SDR-Console software to control my FiFi SDR versus my attempt about a week ago where I tried to do it with Genesis, and Genesis was just overwhelming my old computer that I have out here in my workshop. It's an old Dell Omniplex. It's a dual core. It's got 3 gigs of memory and running Windows 7. Yeah, Jim, the signal is pretty weak. It's there at 9.9. Yeah, Dave, you said you're still having problems with your SDR. It seems like the front end is way too wide and it can't find any settings to narrow the bandwidth. In each program, the setting of the bandwidths is done differently. And that's the problem with these various SDR control software packages. They all act quite a bit differently. Now, on this particular one, I believe, and I'm still learning this one too, is it homepage? Yeah, on the homepage or tab, you go to bandwidth, and then you can select the bandwidth. Now, this particular SDR, the FiFi SDR, the bandwidth is only 192 kilohertz max. That's all it'll do. Now, the RTL-SDR.com dongle will do 2 megahertz bandwidth. There are some, I don't remember which one it is. There are some that will do 10 megahertz bandwidth. That way, what I mean is it will display the spectrum display here for 10 megahertz. Pretty awesome. Okay, let me look over here at the chat room. There is, again, Dave, depending on the program, the bandwidth could be an audio setting or it could be the IF stage. On this particular program, right up here at the top, that bandwidth is, I believe, the bandwidth of the IF. Now, another thing, and I'll stop it, when you're setting up a radio, you select radio, and then you pick which type of dongle you have. And I picked the FiFi, and down here, see the numbers are about the same. And my understanding, the maximum bandwidth this radio will work is in 192 kilohertz. So that's another place you can set the bandwidth of the radios IF. Okay, Cody wanted to know what shortwave radios are good. That's a very difficult question. There are so many radios out there. Of the, I'll call it desktop radio, I like my Grundig Satellite 750. That's what I like. Of portables, I like the Texan PL 660, but that's not to say there aren't as good or better radios out there. And then there's the whole world of software-defined radios, which is what you're looking at right now. This one, particular one, is a FiFi SDR. It costs about $125. Works very good compared to cheaper ones, or at least less expensive ones, I should say. Hello, Oxford Shortwave Long. Good to see you here. Mr. Shank J. Yes, I believe, and I'm no expert, but I believe the Grundig 750 is a very good radio. Unfortunately, it's become very popular because it is a good radio, and the price of the new radio have gone up about 50%. I think I paid, or I got mine, and it was about, I'm guessing about $259, and now they're about $329. Okay, I've been watching the chat room. I haven't been watching the screen here to see what's gotten better or worse. Boy, this is a strong signal here. Yeah, I definitely, let me don't leave it on for a few minutes. I am pretty sure that's China radio. A YouTube friend of mine moved to China to be a spokesman on China radio station. And it used to be on at 7 o'clock every night and every morning. But I think they changed the schedule because I haven't heard him. His name is Spencer. If you go back to some of my old shows where I actually tuned him in and captured it in the video, listening to him on China radio. And like I say, he came from the United States. So I'm pretty sure that's China radio. Let's see what this one is down here. Whatever it is not very loud. There's a booming signal back. back to 9.9. That signal is, I think it's gotten bigger. Now, one thing you can do, let me turn the audio down. One thing you can do in this program, you can turn on this little symbol right here, which tags the strongest signal with a number. And like this particular one at this time is the strongest signal. And if I had another one of my dongles that had a wider bandwidth, you could probably see a number 2 and number 3. Okay, let me look at the chat room. Dave in Ohio said he's learning a lot from my shows. Thank you, Dave. Right now, Dave, I'm using the MFJ 31-foot vertical antenna. It's a pretty simple antenna in that it's a fiberglass telescopic antenna that telescopes to a height of 31 feet. And then all it has is a single wire attached to the top, comes down the telescopic pole, goes into a matching box to match the impedance down to 50 ohms, which is what my radio expects. And it sells for about $100. Captain Ron says there's a new SDR coming, a boombox style. I think I read a little bit about that. Yes, I did read about that. No computer required. It's standalone SDR. Going to be about $100. Now, you know, the concept of a software-defined radio is not new to these dongles. There are many radios that have been out there for quite a while that were software-defined radios. They were standalone radios, and they were computer control radios. I have a Tintec, I believe it's a model RX320, that came out several years ago. And if Jim was still in the chat room, he could tell us when it came out. It was a box about 6 inches by 4 inches by about 2 inches high, and it had a power connector, it had an antenna connector, and I believe it was either USB or RS-232, and it had no dials or controls or displayed. You had to use a computer, and that, like I say, that came out many years ago. Okay, let me look at the chat room again. I see Rob is here. Yeah, I am having problems with my sinuses. The trees have gone crazy in that they're producing all kinds of pollen. I was basically down and out for a week with headaches and stuffiness, but I think the pollen has run its course, so tonight I'm not too bad off. So I'm back. Yeah, it's not, Edward, it's not really a huge antenna. It's a tall antenna. It's 31 feet at the top, and that, of course, helps. I have numerous antennas, and on shortwave right now, this one and my G5RV, which is a horizontal antenna, do the best. Okay, let's see what else is on 31 meters that we haven't tried. Let's go down band here. There's a big signal right there. Turn the volume up. 9.820. Let me look that one up. Oh. Okay, that could be another China radio. 9.820. It sounds Chinese. Stand by, I messed up my other computer. Gotta get back in the chat room. There we go. Speaking of which, this morning I was playing with the soft 66 IP dongle, trying to get it to work. And I was using another computer, and I was using SDR-Console, and I wasn't paying any attention to what I was doing, and I hit something, and this window over here on the left side disappeared, and I could not get it back. Everything I could think of to get it back, I did finally get it back, but it was on the right-hand side. I couldn't get it back on the left-hand side. And you know what I had to end up doing? I had to do a restore on that computer to get things back the way they were this morning when I started. So that was it. That's one thing you kind of have to watch about these software packages for controlling these SDRs, is they have so many options. It's so easy to mess them up. And another thing that I've run across is when I'm experimenting with different dongles in the same software, so I got to change the configuration, invariably I'll break the configuration for the dongle I had been using. So I've had to resort to a restore several times to get things back the way they were. Let me see what's in the chat room. Gosh, I'm way behind here in the chat room. Okay, there was a suggestion that I try 6.925 to 6.960. Okay, we can do that. I'm open for that. 6.925. Okay, there's a big signal right there. Oh, let's back up where we were. Okay. Okay, what am I doing wrong here? Oh, that's what I'm doing wrong. Now, why won't that change? Why is that not tracking? Okay, I've set the frequency up here, but for some reason, let me try it again. I've run into this problem before, my problem. And there we go. Keep forgetting I got to hit that center button up here to get it to track. Now, what were we talking about? 6925. 6925. I hear some noise. Yeah, my problem is the what's called the oh, I forgot what it's called now, but it's the Caribbean frequency. It's called the Caribbean frequency because a lot of stations operate down in this band between 5 megahertz and 7 megahertz. And I get a lot of noise because I'm close to South America, where that's where a lot of those stations are coming from, including a lot of jamming. So I usually don't go down there to 6.9. Let's go up a little higher. Not that high. Let's go to 6950. And as you see, I'm not getting much there. Just a bunch of noise. Yeah. I usually don't do very good down there where I'm located. So that was a bust. I'm sorry. Thanks for the suggestion, but I'm sorry. In my location is just not a good frequency. No, I have not used a Yaesu, what their nickname is, a Frog 7700. I'd like to try one, but I haven't ever latched on to it. Yeah, Big Brother Stare is all across the band, and like late in the afternoon, he just booms in here. I actually use him to see if the bands are open locally. The FRG7 is another good radio, yes. I'd like to latch on to a FRG7, sometimes called Frog 7, that's in good shape. So let's get away from this band. Now, another thing nice about this SDR console is you can save frequencies up here under favorites. So for instance, I have WWVs, 2.5, 5, 10, 15, 20 megahertz. I should be able to get 10 megahertz this evening. Didn't go to 10 megahertz for some reason. There we go. And sure enough, it's booming in. Now, those frequencies are not very exciting, those time, but they're good reference to check the various bands because, like I say, they're on 2.5, 5 megahertz, 10 megahertz, 15 megahertz, 20 megahertz, and sometimes 25. And they're good for testing your radio to see if it's receiving, testing your antenna. Some good frequencies to use. There are also, throughout the world, there are other clocked frequencies where they broadcast the time. In Canada, I believe it's 3.33 megahertz. And you can see right now they're 10 megahertz are booming in. Usually does boom in 10 megahertz in the evening and 5 megahertz in the morning here in Florida. See what else I've saved here. This is the various amateur radio bands that you can go to directly by just clicking on one of these. Here's some international stations that I've saved. I guess I can get rid of Radio Australia since they're gone. Voice of Korea, I was trying to get that before. Nope, not there. There's something right there pretty big, 12 megahertz. Ooh, bunch of noise coming in there. Some kind of interference. Radio New Zealand. Sometimes I can get that. Most of the time I can't. Yeah, nothing there this evening. Here's a weather voice station. That's not there tonight. That's about it. I was hoping I could do better on the 31 meter band because, like I say, about an hour ago, it was really improving, but it didn't improve anymore. So thanks for everybody that stopped by. I planned on doing more Hangouts. Like I say, this was also testing for me to see if I can do this type of Hangout with an SDR, but using SDR-Console, because my attempt at doing that using the Genesis software failed mercifully. But I think, and I haven't seen anybody that says that my audio was dropping out, because in that other attempt I made, the audio was dropping out terrible. Also, I'm looking very forward to doing a Hangout with Scotty, who is getting that new ICOM receiver. And he expects to get that in the mail any day. He was promised it would get here before the end of the month. We're almost to the end of the month, so I'm looking forward to doing that. We did a Hangout last week. One of his existing radios, again, was showing that radio plus testing to see if we can do it again, so to speak. So thanks everybody for watching. Hopefully the audio didn't drop out like it did before. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.